Okay, count of three, and 1 and 2 and 3. And hey, Cheryl, who's your friend?
It is my very great privilege to introduce Dr. Ellen Potter, who is visiting us today from the Salk Institute in La Jolla. And you want to?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ellen Potter, and I am a former researcher who is now in charge of educational outreach. But she's
got the job I want. Please spice that up.
Yeah.
Don't show that to my boss.
So we bring this mobile science lab and these kits to county-wide schools to introduce students to biotechnology and sort of the exciting new things that are going on in our community right here.
That's great.
And biotechnology, students, is really a field that is growing. It actually has jobs. So if you guys have any interest in it, keep your interest going and you will find something to do with your passion for.
And is there a website we can find you at?
Yes, www.salk.edu, and then look under the education segment of the website.
That's great. And Cheryl, you want to close it out a little bit?
I am so thankful as a teacher for the amazing resources that the Salk Institute is providing. They've given us all these tools to really put real life science in the hands of these kids, and they are digging it. They are loving that these kids are leaving saying, I want to be scientists. That's what it's all about for me, so big success.
Yeah, that's what we're looking forward to.
Okay. What's going on?
We're taking DNA out of...
Actually,
why did you have to look over?
It's just going to sit for a couple minutes, so now it's not great. In a couple minutes, they're going to be taking it out.
Cool.
Again, it's been a while since we've done this, but proficiency supervisors, it's your job to look back in the SNB and help people answer these questions. So I want to see if you can fill those out. We're only going to do this for a couple minutes. Let it sit in the water bath. And then we're going to take it out, add the last step, and you can get your DNA.
Yay.
So I want you to tackle those questions. Yeah, so they're not going to be water I want you to think about filling in the blank.
On the outside of the shell.
Think about those
The blank
questions.
is where DNA is located in the animal cells. The what? The wall. It's a jug. Hello.
So what is that thing right there?
It's our DNA.
What is it?
Right there.
Yeah, explain it. What is it?
Yeah, have him do it.
45.
What is it?
Well, it's our test tubes. We're making DNA.
You're making some DNA?
Yeah.
And how long have you been working on it?
Just recently.
Recently? Yes. And then who's the person that's here talking to you today?
Talk to you.
Yeah, who's the guest instructor?
Dr. Ellen Potter.
That is Dr. Ellen Potter. And where does she work?
She works at the
Salk Institute?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm very so honored. If you get number 5, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. The blank is where the DNA is located in the animal plants.
Is you're going to be adding 3 milliliters of isopropyl alcohol. You have a second tube there that's labeled ISO. Lab techs, please cap the soap tube closed tight. And I want you to open the isopropyl tube.
Have it with you.
And just like with the soap, you have a separate cup. All of you have a red cup like this. It's marked ISO on the side. Just listen. Guys, watch me do it first. Watch me do it first. You have a cup that says ISO. You should only be using those tubes. Make sure you're not using the soap or the water tubes. So what you're going to do, you've got your isopropyl tube. You've opened it up. You've got your sample that's been sitting in the water. In just a second, you're going to take it out, uncap it. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to take 3 milliliters of isopropyl alcohol, drop it in. Do not shake it.
No, let it
Do not shake it. What's going to happen is the isopropyl alcohol is less dense than the stuff below it. So it's going to float on top of the soap. And what's going to happen is you're going to see all these little white gooey strands coming up to the alcohol. Guess what those white gooey strands are? DNA. That's your DNA. So you don't want to shake it. Now what's the last step?
Very cool.
Wait, so go ahead and do that now. Put your 3 milliliters in. If you know your tube number, go ahead and get the correct tube. It really doesn't matter though. You've all done the same thing.
So why don't you guys talk about what you're doing right now?
Okay, so what we're doing
again,
is
do not shake it.
the isopropyl alcohol stuff.
Put your 3
Bring it into
milliliters
here
of
so that
isopropyl
it
alcohol
brings the DNA up to the
in your
top.
sample. And then look at it carefully. I can see a bunch of goopy stuff coming out in mine.
Ew, that's kind of gross.
You want to hold it up so I can see it?
So what you've done, yeah, put your 3 milliliters of isopropyl.
See the white stuff
Yeah.
right there?
So what you've done,
DNA.
ladies and
I think so.
gentlemen,
Yeah.
listening,
Very nice.
please. You've broken apart the cells. Listening, please. And you've provided the right environment that the DNA wants to move into. So now you've got your DNA strands at the top. Here's the last step, and we have like 2 minutes, so you gotta listen carefully. The last thing you need is one of these, guys, up here please. One of these little loops. Ladies and gentlemen, eyes up here. You need one of these little loops. This is how you're gonna get the DNA out of your tube. Now watch me first. What you're gonna do is it's going to be kind of like getting spaghetti on a fork. You're going to take the loop end, not the pointy end. Now they need you folks up here. You're using the loop end, not the pointy end, and you're going to take it and you're going to kind of scoop around in that alcohol level, and I kind of twirl it a little bit, and you will end up with your DNA.
Ew, that looks so gross.
That's what you want. Now what you're going to do with this, what you're going to do,
So now you know.
Start at point.
you're going to take, and you don't want to be have it dripping like I'm doing. You want to have this open before you do it. You're going to take your little guy that you have right here. You're going to open it up, and you're going to put that sample into your tube.
So
Now,
gross.
sometimes if you put it in the tube and you just shake it, it'll come off, but if it doesn't, you can use the cap of the tube to sort of scrape it off a little bit, and then you will have a sample of DNA.
That's hot.
Yeah,
That's
You get to
hot.
take this home with you. Now, when you cap this tight, don't open it back up again. This is actually alcohol that you're putting it in. That will preserve it. But you don't want to open it. So I need you to take your loop now, swirl it around, get that sample out, and put it into your little tube.
Okay, come on. Look at all that.
We're getting some good samples.
So what?
That is, what you have right there is the actual DNA that was inside those little wheat germ cells. That is DNA. And the reason why we did this, ladies and gentlemen, that you need to pull the DNA out so you can study it. So researchers have to do this. They have to pull it out before they can study.
It looks like a booger.
Let me see. Hold it up. So now, what is that, guys?
That is DNA
From?
from a wheat germ cell.
It's like something else.
And I hate to tell you this, but we are totally out of time. So here's what I need you to do.
Hunter, can you hold this?
Guys, I'm sorry, but I need you to lift this tube.
See how much that is?
Cap it up tight. Make sure it's capped
I
tight.
mean, I
As
know
long as you
people
hear
might
a
have a little
snap,
more.
it's not
But you
going to
can
leak.
see it.
It'll keep it inside that tube. If you don't hear a snap, it's not closed all the way.
There you go.
can't close it all the way.
Okay? Snap it tight.
Alcohol is less dense than the other liquid, so the DNA is going to come up because it's less dense into that layer, and you're going to see these white, mucusy kind of strands of slimy stuff. That's DNA. That's the DNA. That's as far as we're going to go for this step. So right now, go ahead and take 3 mils of alcohol and add it to your sample. Again, do not shake it, but look at the alcohol layer, and you'll see the DNA come out.
And look at the gooey stuff on the top. Look at that gooey stuff.
All those little white strands
All
are the
that.
DNA that's come out. I'm going to tell you what to do next in just a second. Once everybody's got their alcohol layer there, I'll tell you how to get your DNA out. No, do not shake it. Do not shake it. Do not rock it.
Let me
Do
get a
not
close
shake
look at
it.
it, dude.
Let it settle. So here's what you're going to do. You all have, listening,
That's cool.
you all, to get the DNA out, you're going to use one of these glue sticks that's been soaking in alcohol. That take all the stuff off from the last period. So what you're going to do, there's 4 of those. You can all do it at the same time, but watch me first. Watch the other end to it. This is called an inoculation loop. And this is what you're going to use to kind of scoop it out. Now it's slimy. It doesn't necessarily want to come out. So it's a little tricky. What you're going to do is you're going to use your loop, and I kind of make it like spaghetti. When you're trying to get spaghetti on a fork, you kind of have to twirl it a little bit and spin it. That's kind of what you do here. So if you spin it and twirl it a little bit, if you're successful, you'll end up with a nice, big, slimy chunk of DNA. That's what you want. So then what you're going to, whoops, I think I was going to lose that. Yeah, I told you, it does not want to stay on there. You're going to use your little tube to collect your samples. So what you're going to do, watch this step and then I'll let you get yours.
Because this is sort of the trickiest part.
This is tough. So what you want to do is you want to scoop it out and put it into your little sample. Now sometimes you can just tap and it'll fall, but like it's doing now, it's not necessarily going to do that. So the easiest way, if it doesn't just fall off, is use the lid. Everybody see this? Use the lid to kind of scrape it off. Just use the lid and scrape it off the sides, and then you'll have a nice big gooey slimy blob of DNA. That is yours to keep forever and always. You can scoop as much DNA as you can out of that tube and put it into your sample.
Oh, it's filled with water. Make sure you don't spill it. Hey, Mr. Smith.
What do you guys got?
Skim it
We got
from the
stuff.
top.
Look at this.
Don't like dig deep.
Very nice.
Ew.
DNA, huh? Where'd it come from?
A wheat germ.
Wheat germ?
Check it out. Ew.
Oh, look at that. That's a nice chunk.
And don't go beyond that alcohol layer. Just stick your loop into that top layer. Oh, sweet! Nick has got a big old hunking glob.
Wait, so we just stick it in the alcohol part?
You know what, put that in the styrofoam so it'll hold, and then you can just pick up your other one. But that's the hard part, is using 2 hands to do it.
Miss Bittner, so we just take the alcohol part, like that part?
It's the little white stuff
Look at my
that's
huge glob.
nice. See the stuff they're pulling out? It's floating in the alcohol layer.
Oh, that?
It's in the top layer, that clear alcohol layer. See what Kat's pulling out? That's what you're aiming for. So if you're going to study DNA, you got to get it out first. This is how they do it. This is what
Hold up, Kat, let's take a look.
do in the lab.
So, Kat, what is that?
That is wheat germ DNA.
And how long did it take you to make this?
What?
How long did it take you to make it?
It only took like 10 minutes, and you don't make it, you extract it.
You
cannot
extract
make
it. You
DNA.
cannot make DNA. Very cool.
Almost got that one.
You have to do it in one.
Chet, you only have to do it once. I know, but I want all of it.
Guys, can you put these back outside? We need to get people to clean up.
Oh my god, it's not coming out.
It's like you're kind of like fishing for it, huh?
Yeah. There.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, as always, our time is short, so it's just about time to clean up. So again, get as much of that out as you can and put it into your sample. And we're going to talk about cleaning up in 35 seconds. Have enough time.
Oh, no.
You can see it.
Perfect.
Kat, you want to get a pineapple for me?
Sure. Give me yours. I don't want to
Okay, once you've got your sample in there, I want you to snap the cap on. If you don't hear a snap, it's not tight, it's not all the way on. So make sure you snap that little cap closed. And what you have in it, ladies and gentlemen, listen please.